we really prepared hard this week for Florida State. We knew their size. We knew their quickness. They run one of the biggest lineups we've run up against, and I think will run up against. Did a great job on the boards early, up into halftime. They made some adjustments. I think early in the third quarter. I thought we adjusted well. We just when we talked to the kids, there's just too many open turnovers and open possessions, and that led to like 22 fast break points or something, I heard. So. We can play with these guys, and we've got to take that next step and win these games, and they know that, and we're going to go back to work tomorrow.
Okay, we'll open it up to questions for the student athletes. Looks like right up front here with Rob, whenever you're ready.
Jada, both of you had sort of a cold shooting night. Was it more of the defensive pressure that was on you, or just an off night?
I would say probably just like an off night. I don't think we felt as much pressure. I think that every game, we're going to have to work for shots, but I would probably just say that it was an off night. I know, personally for me, every shot that I put up that was wide open, it felt good. It just didn't hit.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. We're always going to be the ones that are pressured, and they're going to be looking for us. Like, they know we're shooters. So I didn't feel pressured, but they just weren't falling. So just have those nights. So, yeah.
Jada, you guys are 3-4 now on the season. After losing to Florida State, who was a ranked team, how do you think that helps your guys' team's development going forward?
I think every game helps the development going forward. I think this game was probably one of the, I don't want to say one of the toughest, but I think one of the most learning challenges that we're going to have, because it's the biggest team that we're going to see. And I think that today we just adjusted too late or didn't adjust as much to their height and everything like that. So I think that's the biggest part, is learning the adjustment in the game and going from there.
Sure. And for both of you guys, after kind of a slow start to the fourth quarter, what did you guys think of your team's total effort to kind of keep you guys in the game as Florida State began to hit a lot of shots?
I think that we, again, didn't really adjust to them shooting the threes. We were still packed in as they continued to make the threes. I think the effort was still there. I think it was also just coming down, making the stop, and then going back on offense. We maybe have just let our offense dictate our defense, because we weren't making the shots in the fourth quarter to get back into the game. But I think it's just the offense dictated the defense.
Yeah, back in Florida, you guys didn't do so hot. But coming back off of that, where was that sort of drive to be better in Florida, especially when you're going up against a number 25 team?
I think just having good practices, and I think something that we really worked on today, or in practices that we kind of did better today, was running through our offense in the second half. I think we want to put up a fight, and I think that's what we did today. We didn't let down, but we always need that third quarter, fourth quarter fight as well. We had it in the first half, but I think something that we could learn from too is just putting up a fight in the third and fourth quarter, and that's what we tried to do, but did.
Yeah, so is consistency a huge part right now?
Yeah, consistency in all four quarters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Aaliyah, you had that huge collision with Demilah, but like you said, you guys were tough at that beginning of the game. Giovanna got the ball, and then Demilah got the layup, but got the foul. But you guys were continuing to fight throughout the first and second quarters, and what do you think of that?
I think after the Florida, going to Florida, we learned to stay together, as a team, no matter if you're having a good game or a bad game. I think that's what we did today better as well. It's just staying together. My teammates, I turned the ball over 5 times, and my teammates, every single time, they picked me up. Even when I was emotional about it, or mad that I turned the ball over, my teammates were there to pick me up. We celebrated every turnover we forced. We celebrated every shot. I think that's what we really did today better than we did in Florida as well.
Mm-hmm. And then overall, looking back at Florida, what are some things that you guys are, I think you might answer this, but what are some things that you're proud about, that you fixed from that trip from Florida?
I would honestly say one thing that we really looked at was the bench. And honestly think it's just the biggest thing, like she said, is just really picking each other up and staying in the game to fight. I know this year we stayed in the game to fight every single game, but it's just punching back is the one thing that we've been saying a lot lately, and punching first in general. And then when we punch first, staying ahead and not letting them punch back.
Any other questions for Jada or Aaliyah tonight? Okay, thank you guys for joining us. You can leave if you'd like.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll open it up for questions for Coach Fahey.
Coach, we just heard you on the radio, but looking at free throws today, you guys were way better, hitting, what is it, 70% in total, compared to what we saw in Florida. And what do you have to say about what happened between Florida and now to make that happen?
You know, we just put extra emphasis. Extra emphasis on it. So we'd had to put extra time in. I'm thinking about our court situation. So they have to come in and make sure they put extra time in, because the two hoops they just were told they have to put 50 up. They had to make 50 for the next three days. They reported it back, and as I said, 1 + 1 = 2. We had to find that and make sure that's not one of our reasons. We have a list every game of like 7 things we have to accomplish to win games, and you know, that one really hurt us down in Florida, and we corrected it.
Yeah, and then today we saw a lot of Aaliyah and Jada hold the ball and struggle to find that person to pass to and just holding it. And I mean, even though they were able to hold it, but still struggled to find the pass.
Well, the size and length of those guys, you can't really simulate necessarily every time in practice, and I think that put us on a little bit of our heels in the first 2 quarters, even though, you know, I thought we were pretty tight. We made some really, I just said our decisions with the ball weren't really solid, but I think that contributed because of the height and length of the team. You know, the third and fourth quarter, I think execution-wise, we knew we were looking for a little bit better. I just think that it just took a little bit time to adapt to it. And quite frankly, then the boards hurt us in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, and then Jay Loden, we haven't seen her in 4 games ever since that game. I can't remember the team, but what's the situation on her?
She's doing some medical stuff, and hopefully she'll get her back as soon as we are able to have her back.
Right.
Coach, every single player for Florida State that entered the game today scored. Your guys' bench got outscored by 24 points today, 39-15. More to focus on your opponent. What did you think about kind of Florida State's bench and their depth today?
Yeah, I knew they had one of their starters back. Senior came back. She'd been out the last 3 games. You know, I'll be honest. We run a system, and we kind of knew what their whole team was doing. Does that make sense? So when they exchanged people, a lot of we identified who the shooters were, identified who the drivers were. I think 24 is the one that, even though whether she was in or out, started slicing and dicing a little bit. And I think she had 6 or 7 offensive boards. That was the key. I mean, you know, and like I said, they adapted a little bit by putting their post up in a high post area, so we had to start playing their ball screens a little bit differently. Yeah, their depth, obviously, but I didn't, we got 44 points or something out a couple of weeks ago, so I didn't think our kids were tired. I didn't really, their system is what I was going up against, not necessarily okay. They outscored our bench.
And just my last question, like towards the end of the game, when it looked like Illinois was kind of starting to get back into it, there was that offensive foul call on Ruben. What are your thoughts on that call in general? That kind of went to replay for a second.
Is that the one I called the timeout for replay?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was 2 ways. I went to the end of the bench, said, was she in the circle, and what, you know, you do the, and plus I knew, you know, when you do that, there's going to be a long pause, right? Because they have to look for a long time. So it was kind of, I had the longest timeout I wanted because I wanted to stop action. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it stopped action for an extended period of time. They said it was inconclusive. Yeah, that was a new one for me, so that was fine. That was their call, and we just went back to work after that. That's why I called, because I did think, I mean, you go to the bench, you ask them if they were in the circle, and they gave me some other reasons, so I was fine. I mean, that's their job.
And then I think we're up front with Rob here next.
You did get an explanation about that call, and everybody in the audience was watching as the defensive player moved into position with her foot in the circle. So Can they define inconclusive for you?
We chatted, but they win. I mean, they just said that they started talking about the angle, the area when they come in, and it doesn't matter if it's in the circle or not. So I mean, that's the response I got, and I said okay.
I just have one more. Kendall Bostic, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. Do you need her to score to be effective?
She does a heck of a job on the boards, but she will. I mean, she puts a ton of time in. We're just getting her to understand that we need her out there, and she'll. This is the thing. You watch kids, and if they don't come in the gym, they don't put all the time in. Don't shoot it. I'm pretty clear about that. If you come in and put all the time in, and if you miss that's what human beings do. If you don't do the work, then don't shoot it. She does the work. I want her to shoot it. And so that's like when you're asking about, like I was asked, like, well, what's with shoot? I mean, they're putting the work in. I mean, these 2 kids were really sick last week, and I don't know if anybody, and they fought through and tried to play games, and that they probably should have not. You know what I'm saying? So this team's got a lot of fight. So yeah, we need Kendall to score, but Kendall's putting the work in. I'm confident she'll do that. I don't know exactly what all the guys' team had. I just know that when we were in Florida, we had a couple kids, we had about 2 or 3 that were real sick. But, it's part of the game. Part of the game.
Any other questions for Coach? All right, thanks, everyone.